Have overrun towns and roads, leaving cars trapped in the floodwaters. This is what it looked like in downtown St. Louis on Tuesday. At least 4 cars stranded here on I-44. And as often as we tell people not to drive through flooded roadways, it still happens. So the question is, what do you do if your car gets stuck in flash flooding? Joining us now is the car coach, Lauren Fix. Lauren, thanks so much for joining us. Again, obviously option 1 is not being out on the roads, but if you find yourself in a vehicle, water's rising around you, what's the first thing you need to do?
Okay, the first thing you do is if you're coming up on a roadway, maybe it's a road you drive every single day, and maybe you're not paying attention, and you see that the water is rising, see if you can get out of it. Like if a road is driving downward. If that's the case, see if you can back out. If the car starts to take on water quickly, you will not be able to open the door, which a lot of people want to do. You will probably most likely be unable to put the windows down because water and electrical, as we know, means that the electrical system will not work. If that's the case and you did open the window, what would happen is water would then flood into the vehicle, which would then force it to sink. So what typically happens is you can't kick out the front windshield if you're trapped inside, and hopefully you're not trapped inside with your family. What I tell people to do is you have to go to the back window, whether it's an SUV or a car, and you need to kick out that back window. The front end of the car is heavier than the rear end of the vehicle, so that front end will start to drop down toward the water, and the front windshield is also safety glass. It cannot be kicked out. It will hold its shape. The rear is tempered glass. It will shatter, so you want to cover your face, and you want to get out if possible. Now, the problem is when the water starts to rise, it only takes a foot of water for your vehicle to start floating, and that will give you anxiety quite quickly.
Lauren, what about, we've seen video this week of people on the roofs of their vehicles, right? If you can get out the back, great. What about something like a sunroof? Can that be an escape hatch for you? How easy is it to get your sunroof, that window open?
It's a good thought, but you have to remember that most of the newer ones are electric. So if you have no electricity in the vehicle because water and electricity causes the electricity system to fail, you won't be able to open up that glass. And some of the newer vehicles also are fixed roofs, so you cannot break out the glass. It's made of safety glass because, like a windshield, because it's about retention of the vehicle when the vehicle's not in water. So your best bet to get out is out of the rear glass. If it's an older vehicle, you can try kicking out the sunroof or the moonroof and try getting on top of the vehicle. But we can't always guarantee how deep the water is. As the water gets deeper, the vehicle could completely submerge. And that is really concerning, which is why you see a lot of people standing on the roof of their car begging for help. And hopefully there is someone there to help you.
We've seen that tool that'll break windows. Any other items we should have in our cars that would be handy in a situation like this?
Right. One of the things, those tools that you can buy break glass, but they can also cut seatbelts because sometimes the seatbelt's locked because it believes it's in some sort of accident. So if you have one of those little tools, they're under $10. I keep one in the center console of my vehicle. I live in the Buffalo area. We don't typically have that kind of water. We have snow. But if you're ever in an accident, you'll be glad that you have it because you can break out the glass with the glass tool. Also, carry an emergency kit. Of course, your cell phone fully charged is a good idea because you can call 911 for help.
Lauren, I wanted to ask you about after the flood, and people will recover their vehicles. How easy is it to get your vehicle repaired? Is it just a matter of letting it dry out, or is it a lot more to it than that?
It's a lot more to it than that. Remember, number one thing is your vehicle can be replaced. You cannot be replaced. So if the vehicle gets completely flooded and they decide to total it, you'll find another vehicle as long as you're safe. Now, the vehicle itself, first thing you do is you call your insurance company, find out if you have flood coverage. Every state has their own regulations, and each policy has its own coverage. So you have to find out if you're covered at all. If you are covered, the insurance company will come out, they'll make an assessment. Typically, they total those vehicles because, again, what happens is what's in the water that we don't know. Is it storm water? Is it salt water? Salt water corrodes everything inside. Storm water usually has waste in it, which is E. coli, mold, mildew, and everything else will be left behind. And it could cause health issues for you and your family. So I tell people the first thing you want to do is if your vehicle's in a flood, once it's towed out of that flood area, you can open the door, try and get an assessment of how deep the water is. If it was enough that it went into where the passenger compartment is, most likely that vehicle is garbage.
Well, Lauren Fix, the car coach, thank you so much. So important, this information. Yeah. We appreciate it.
Thank you.